Hello, everybody. I've received a number of requests to do a video walkthrough of my technology leadership blueprint. So here it is. The technology leadership blueprint is all about driving excellence in technology leadership, from taking the ordinary leader to the extraordinary. In this document, we go through the 5-step process that I've developed with my clients over the years to make that transition. So we're going to go through that today. First of all, let's make sure that we're connected on LinkedIn. If you go to Robert Castle and connect with me, you'll get plenty of great content that comes out all on the topic of technology leadership. Also, I have the founder of the IT Leadership Excellence Network, so you can feel free to send me a request to join that group and get even more value. And then finally, my company is called Radiant Performance Coaching, and you can go to that website and get some more content and freebies there. Now, first, let's go through the table of contents. We've got 12 chapters, context, who this is for, not for, one thing holding you back from your full potential, some case studies, the importance of leadership skills. They're not optional, they're essential. The real world of leadership, where skills meet challenges. That's where the rubber meets the road. We'll talk about the 4 stages of learning. We'll talk about the power of your subconscious mind and create a blueprint for mastering your leadership skills. And then finally, we'll end with a call to action to unleash your leadership mastery. And then we'll finish it off with some frequently asked questions and some credits. So first, context. I'm going to break down something completely new that I've never shared before. It's the exact strategies and insights that have helped my clients achieve remarkable success in some of the most competitive spaces in technology and leadership. Using these approaches, and this is just a sampling, my clients have recently accomplished the following. 2 clients became CEOs of their respective companies. 2 clients reached the CIO positions. 1 client was promoted to senior director. Another became a president. 1 launched his own business, and 1 celebrated becoming an executive director. And here's the thing. These aren't overnight success stories. They're crafted through the power of mindset, leadership, and the right strategies. These results come from inner changes, which often show up in my clients' lives as outward success. But before I dive in, I know what you're thinking. Who the hell is this guy, Robert Castle? Well, I've been a senior executive and presented to boardrooms and to CEOs of global companies such as Accenture, Equifax, and Serco. I've held executive positions in engineering, services, sales, and strategy, all within the tech sector. I've been the driving technology leader at 2 high-tech startups, both of which had successful exits of over 50 million each. I co-authored an international bestseller with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, and I've been recognized as a LinkedIn top voice for leadership in 2023 and 24, and I'm a former NCAA Division I athlete, and I've spent thousands of hours learning psychology and philosophy behind high performance, balancing all of this while being a husband and father of 4. Now, my clients' results come from my 30 years of experience in the tech industry, countless hours of professional development, and over $250,000 invested in my personal development, including training, online courses, executive coaching, and leadership development. And just like my journey, my clients' journeys are about transformation, not just surviving, but thriving. And why do my clients achieve such significant transformations? It's because they tap into a deeper understanding of leadership, not just the ability to lead others into states of high performance, but lead themselves into high performance. And in this document, I'm going to tell you exactly how they do it step by step so you can apply these strategies to your own journey. So let's get started. So first of all, let's talk about who this is for and who this is not for. First, this is for you if you're an ambitious technology professional looking to grow your career. You want to develop a powerful leadership presence that commands respect. You're determined to overcome setbacks and transform them into opportunities. You believe in leveraging mindset and personal development to unlock your full potential. You've faced obstacles or biases in your career and you want to break through. And you're ready to invest in yourself to achieve executive level growth. You value strategies that promote enduring long-term career success, and you're ready to develop and embrace a leadership style that aligns with your values. And you feel stuck and you're determined to get unstuck. However, this document is not for you, and if it's not for you, I encourage you not to spend any more time with it. So it's not for you if you're not committed to your own professional and personal growth. You're not willing to develop self-awareness. You're not willing to take a deep look at yourself, your habits, and your behavior. You're not willing to put in the work, such as on your mindset and leadership style. You want quick fixes without putting in the work required to make adjustments, grow, or in some cases, dramatically change. You're not open to self-reflection or constructive feedback. You're comfortable being in the same place and don't aspire for more. And you believe that mindset shifts are just buzzwords and not essential for growth. Now, this is the one thing holding you back from reaching your full potential. Leadership skills. Basically, you can't lead yourself or you can't lead others. Now, whether you're aiming to lead transformational digital initiatives, or want to inspire your team to achieve extraordinary results, here's the bottom line. There's only one thing you need to unlock your true potential as a technology executive and elevate your leadership impact. Here's what you don't need. You don't need mastery of every new technology or system. You don't need a detailed understanding of every intricate process. You don't need the latest tech certifications and accolades. What you do need instead is simple, but it's not easy. You need to master the art of leadership, starting with yourself. Anyone who says otherwise is missing the point. When I first stepped into leadership, I thought it was all about the tools, the tech, and the systems. And for sure, I had technical expertise that others relied on, but I struggled to lead effectively. In my early years, I tried to lead through sheer knowledge, but I had no idea how to motivate, influence, or truly connect with my team. I made tons of mistakes, but I learned quickly. Leadership isn't knowing it all. It's about harnessing the power of emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence. Without these leadership qualities, I would have been stuck forever, just another tech expert who couldn't lead. So let's be clear. Developing these leadership skills will help you navigate every challenge you face as a technology executive. Here they are again. Emotional intelligence. It's the foundation. Understanding and managing your own emotions and those of others is crucial for leading cross-functional teams and driving transformation. Assertiveness. It's not about being aggressive. It's about standing firm on important decisions. It's key when you need to push for innovation or challenge outdated practices. Executive presence. This is what inspires confidence. It's the ability to be credible and decisive, especially during times of uncertainty and change. And creativity, thinking outside the box, is what separates leaders from managers. It's finding innovative solutions to complex problems, not just applying what's been done before. And finally, it's about shaping outcomes without formal authority, which is influence. Building trust and persuading others to buy into your vision is essential for leading any major initiative. Do this one thing, focus on these 5 leadership skills, and it will be impossible not to reach your potential. It's actually very, very simple. The number one reason why technology executives fail to lead effectively is this: they do not focus on developing the human-centric leadership skills that drive enduring success. And once you do these leadership skills, you do develop these leadership skills, even without being the most technically proficient, even without a perfect strategic plan, even without all the answers, you can still and you will lead successfully. A consistent focus on these leadership skills means that you'll be able to inspire and motivate your team to achieve extraordinary results, navigate complex organizational challenges with confidence, and lead transformative initiatives that align with business strategies. And finally, influence stakeholders at all levels to support your vision. But remember, although the idea of focusing on leadership is simple, developing these skills is not. Or at least it wasn't for me. You see, I had to learn these leadership skills the hard ways, through trial and error, and with the guidance of mentors and a number of outstanding executive coaches. However, after I started to focus on these specific leadership skills, everything changed, to the point where leading with confidence and achieving extraordinary results is now consistent, repeatable, and a predictable process. It's very simple. If you do not focus on developing emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence, then you'll never have enough control over your leadership impact to drive the success you desire. Instead, you'll be stuck in the weeds, solving problems that don't move the needle, and missing the bigger picture. Thankfully, there is a better way. But before we dive into how to develop these leadership skills, let me show you some real-world examples. In this series of case studies, we dive into the extraordinary journeys of 5 individuals who refused to let setbacks define them. These are stories of resilience, of transformation, and reinvention. Each story is unique, but they share a common thread: a commitment to growth, a mastery of leadership skills, and the courage to embrace change. These are not just tales of career success, but of personal transformation that proves real leadership begins from within. So let's talk about Patricia. Patricia was successful, and she was driven. She was ambitious and intelligent, and she had spent a number of years building a reputation, climbing her way up the corporate ladder to a vice president position at her company. And she had her sights set on the coveted role of the chief information officer. At first, she wasn't even sure if she wanted the position. Plus, there seemed to be an invisible barrier blocking her path. See, she was viewed as the underdog. Despite her qualifications, her experience and her undeniable drive, there were some whispers in the hallway that told a different story. She doesn't have what it takes. Some saw her as defensive, others as combative. In moments of stress, Patricia would either fight too hard or withdraw entirely, defaulting to mindsets that didn't serve her best. She was stuck in a loop, unable to showcase her true potential. But Patricia wasn't one to back down. She had a real fighting spirit. She knew she had to change something within herself in order to break through these perceptions. She had a moment of realization. The battle wasn't with the people around her, it was with herself. And she needed to take control of the narrative to shift from being perceived as a fighter or a victim to becoming a leader who inspires, a leader who lifts others up. So Patricia began by developing a deep awareness of her own mindset. She recognized her patterns, the times when stress triggered her into reactive states that hindered her ability to lead effectively. She saw clearly how often she defaulted to either defensiveness or withdrawal, and how these tendencies were affecting not only her own performance, but also the relationships with her colleagues and team. So she decided to change. Instead of defaulting to unproductive mindsets, Patricia made a conscious choice to adopt a servant leadership style. She embraced empathy. She began actively listening and focusing on empowering her team members rather than controlling them. She stopped seeing challenges as threats and started viewing them as opportunities to grow for both herself and for her team. Patricia just didn't stop there. She began to dig deeper, identifying the specific triggers that pushed her into those negative mindsets. And she learned to recognize the warning signs early and implemented strategies to manage her energy levels and mental state proactively. She became adept at navigating stress and conflict, maintaining a calm and constructive presence, even in the most heated discussions. Her executive presence blossomed. Patricia transformed the way she interacted with her peers, becoming more collaborative, more engaging, and more inspiring. She wasn't just seen, she was heard, audible, understood, and most importantly, respected. She developed an ability to manage conflict effectively, turning every tense situation into an opportunity to build trust and reinforce her leadership. Her transformation didn't go unnoticed. When the time came for the CIO role to be filled, Patricia wasn't just another name on the list. She was a credible candidate, and she approached the interview process differently. She wasn't defensive, she wasn't combative, she was calm, collected, and confident. She demonstrated her ability to lead, not just with authority, but with authenticity and with empathy. And Patricia stood out. Her new mindset, her ability to handle stress and conflict with grace, and her unwavering commitment to her team's success made her the clear choice for the role. The result, she was promoted to the CIO position in just 4 months. She had made a profound shift. But it wasn't just about the title or the increased compensation, which included an equity award and an increased bonus. Patricia's growth was recognized by everyone around her. She had moved from being viewed as an underdog to a visionary leader who could drive the company's most critical digital transformational initiatives forward. She created a positive and collaborative work environment that led to better team dynamics and higher morale. Patricia didn't stop there. She continued applying the tools and strategies she had learned, solidifying her growth, and further developing her leadership impact. She tackled the company's most significant challenges, drove its most strategic objectives, and transformed the organization's culture. Her journey wasn't just about climbing the ladder. It was about transforming herself into a leader that she was always meant to be. Patricia's story proves that real leadership isn't about authority or titles. It's about the courage to look inward, to confront your own limitations, and to grow beyond them. It's about embracing a mindset that focuses on service, on empathy, and empowerment. And when you do that, the possibilities are endless. Now, let me tell you about William. William had been with his organization for 25 years. He knew the ins and outs of the organization, of every department, system, process. He had risen through the ranks to become the COO. So he was the second highest position in the company. He was respected. His colleagues trusted him. His customers knew his name. But despite all of this, William felt stuck. You see, the organization had been stagnant for years. The retiring CEO had been at the helm for almost 2 decades. Excuse me. And William was seen as part of the old guard. There were whispers amongst the board members, hints that they were looking for someone with fresh energy to shake things up or to bring the company into a new era. And William feared that he wasn't part of their plans. But he wasn't ready to be sidelined. Not after all these years, not after all the work he had put into this company. And he needed to create a vision for the future, for the company. But he also knew that that vision alone wasn't enough. William knew that he had to transform himself first. He had a choice: to sit back and wait, to see what would happen, or to take control of his destiny. And William chose the latter. He knew he needed to reinvent himself to prove he would be the leader the organization needed, dynamic, visionary, and ready to take on the challenges ahead. He recognized that he had been avoiding the uncomfortable tasks, the difficult conversations, and the hard decisions. He started confronting these challenges head on. He pushed himself out of his comfort zone, tackling the things that he had been putting off. And in doing so, he began to see a shift, not just in himself, but in how others perceived him. He developed better self-control. Instead of reacting impulsively to stress, he became composed, thoughtful, and strategic, and he learned to stay calm under pressure, to respond with clarity and confidence. His colleagues started to notice, and the board started to notice. William also knew that he had to sharpen his focus. He systematically learned how to enter a flow state where his productivity soared, his focus was laser sharp, and his day-to-day tasks aligned with his long-term goals. He became more patient, understanding that success doesn't always come overnight. He trusted the process, building resilience even when things didn't go as planned. His strategic thinking improved dramatically. He learned to recognize his own tendencies towards self-sabotage and work diligently to overcome them. He started making decisions that weren't just good for today, but were laying the groundwork for the company's future. And he avoided the distractions and the noise that so often clouded his judgment and zeroed in on the key achievements that would drive the organization forward. He started showing up for meetings differently, more confident, more assertive, with a newfound executive presence. William wasn't just the COO anymore. He was the leader everyone turned to for guidance, and he became more connected to his goals, more clear about his priorities, and determined to reach them. But perhaps the most important change was this: William became truly authentic. He built a stronger relationships by being open, genuine, and committed to his team's success. People saw that he wasn't just talking about change, he was living it. And that authenticity, it built trust, it built respect. William took a strategic view of what needed to be accomplished, diving deep into the 90-day plan, drawing on the strategy by Dr. Michael Watkins. He took a hard look at the organization, its strengths and weaknesses, its opportunities and threats, and he crafted a vision, one that didn't just tweak the old model, but proposed a new level of performance and innovation that continued the great work of the previous CEO and built it in a new and innovative yet manageable and pragmatic ways. Finally, the day came, and the CEO retired, and the board began their search for a new leader. And William stood in front of them, not as a man he had been 18 months earlier, but as the leader he had become. He was ready. He had reinvented himself and crafted a compelling vision for the future and was prepared to execute it. The result? He was promoted to CEO. He is now leading the organization with a renewed vision, energizing the entire company and taking it to new heights that he had never imagined. William didn't just wait for the change. He became the change. He transformed himself from a respected but stagnant COO into a dynamic, visionary CEO. He has other perks now as well, including a substantial CEO level compensation package, a larger office, and a new, more thoughtful perspective. And it all began with a decision to lead himself first, to develop the emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence that he needed to drive his organization forward. William's story proves one thing: when you decide to take control of your leadership journey, there's no limit to what you can achieve. And then there's David. David had dedicated 16 years of his life to a leading global consulting corporation. He had climbed the ranks, established a reputation, and became the senior executive over his portfolio. And then in early 2023, it all came crashing down. As part of sweeping cost-cutting measures, David was unexpectedly caught up in a highly publicized technology industry layoff. Just like that, the career he had devoted himself to was gone. He was in shock. The sudden termination felt like a betrayal, a punch to the gut, and knocked the wind out of him. For days, he felt paralyzed, unable to fathom what had happened, let alone what to do next. His confidence was shattered, his motivation evaporated, and he couldn't even imagine working for another company. This place had been a huge part of his life, and he hadn't even contemplated searching for a new job. And now he was feeling completely lost. But deep down, something within David refused to give up. He knew he couldn't stay stuck in this place of defeat. He began to ask himself the hard question: what do I want next? How do I move forward? He needed a new perspective and a way to turn the setback into an opportunity. And David began to shift his mindset. He knew he had to develop self-awareness, to understand his emotions, to stop feeling like a victim, and to regain his sense of purpose. He began to focus on developing the essential leadership skills that had been missing from his approach. The first step was emotional intelligence. David learned to recognize his feelings of betrayal and loss, but not to let them define him. He began to manage his emotions more effectively, understanding that being laid off was not a reflection of his worth or abilities. Instead, he used it as fuel to imagine what he could do next. He learned the power of assertiveness, not aggression, but the confidence to stand firm in his decisions as he finished out his final days at his old employer as required by his severance. And he started to believe in his own value and the unique perspective he could bring to any organization. He began advocating for himself, speaking up and presenting himself with newfound strength and clarity. But it wasn't just about standing firm. David realized that he needed to develop his executive presence. He worked on projecting confidence. And even when he didn't feel it, even when the sting of being let go was still fresh, he knew that during any interview or meeting, his ability to exude credibility, decisiveness, and calmness under pressure would be crucial. He practiced over and over until he could walk into any room and immediately command respect. David also tapped into his creativity. He began thinking outside the box about his career path instead of just applying for the same types of roles he'd had before. He considered new industries and new challenges and even the possibility of starting his own company. And he realized that being laid off gave him a rare opportunity to reinvent himself entirely, to shape his future in any way that he wanted. His circumstances had presented David with a gift and an opportunity, and he began to really see that. As David continued to push himself, he developed the critical skill of influence. He knew he needed to build relationships to win people over without relying upon his former title or position. He focused on crafting a narrative that made people see his value, his resilience, and his vision. And he started to see himself not just as an employee seeking a job, but as a leader looking to make an impact. Gradually, David began to build his confidence. He applied for roles that seemed out of his reach. He reached out to his network with a new sense of purpose, and he even started his own LLC to do some freelance work and explore whether being a solo entrepreneur was right for him. But the real turning point came when he was approached for an executive director role with a prestigious organization, a position that would require him to go through a grueling months-long interview process. David dove in with everything that he had. He knew that he wasn't just applying for a job, he was applying for a new chapter in his life. And he prepared for each stage meticulously, drawing on his newfound leadership skills, ready to show them who he truly was. He demonstrated critical thinking and empathy, and showing his ability to navigate complex challenges with clarity and understanding. He presented himself with poise, confidence, and humility, proving that he was more than just a resume. And it paid off. David was offered an executive director position, but it didn't stop there. 2 other organizations also extended offers to him. He had gone from having no choices to having many. He had gone from a lucrative senior executive compensation package to an even better one. David had gone from feeling completely lost and defeated to having multiple opportunities at his feet. But beyond the offers, he had found something far more valuable, a renewed sense of purpose and the confidence to pursue his own dreams. He took the leap and started his own company, all while stepping into the executive director role at the new organization. David's journey is proof that even the most unexpected setbacks can become the greatest opportunities. It's not about the fall, it's about how you get back up, how you choose to rebuild, and how you learn to lead yourself first. Through emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence, David turned his story from one of loss to one of remarkable resilience and triumph. He didn't just find a job, he had found a new path, a new purpose, and a new vision for his life. David's story shows that when you focus on developing the right leadership skills, there truly are no limits to what you can achieve. Finally, there's John. And John was a senior technology director at a large company for a number of years. He had been first in line to ascend to the coveted CIO position. He had given everything to his role, earned the respect across the organization, and knew every facet of the company like the back of his hand. But when the time came and the interviews were done and the votes, had all been counted, the CEO made a different choice. Someone else was selected for the position that John had been grooming himself for all these years. So, needless to say, John was stunned. He was shocked. All the hard work, the late nights, the strategic insights, none of it all seemed to matter anymore. As he sat there in disbelief, a wave of self-doubt began to take hold. He started questioning everything, his abilities, his decisions, his entire career path. Confidence, once his strong suit, seemed to slip through his fingers like sand. Now, working under the new CIO, one of his former peers, John felt himself really losing his mojo. He couldn't focus like he used to. He couldn't get things moving the way he had done before. Every task seemed heavier, every challenge more daunting. He needed a change badly, but he wasn't sure what that change could look like. Not being on his A game wasn't fair to his current employer, and certainly being in the same role after all these years wasn't what he wanted. The disappointment of being selected the disappointment of not being elected weighed heavily upon him, and he felt trapped and lost and deeply frustrated. But John wasn't about to let this setback define him. He decided to take a hard look at his situation and to find a way to turn things around. He realized that he had to rebuild himself from the inside out. He needed to develop the core leadership skills that would not just restore his confidence, but also make him a stronger, more effective leader. The first step was recognizing the power of emotional intelligence. John learned to manage his feelings of inadequacy and disappointment. Instead of allowing these emotions to dominate his thoughts, he began to understand them and manage them more effectively. He started listening more to himself, his emotions, and his team, and he began to see that his frustration was not just about being passed over for a role, it was about how he saw himself and his value. John also needed to work on his assertiveness. He realized it wasn't just about standing up and shouting louder, and it was about confidently advocating for his ideas while respecting others. He learned to express his needs and his vision clearly without hesitation or self-doubt. He began to push back against the inner voice telling him that he wasn't good enough, reminding himself of the value that he had brought to the table. Then came executive presence, the ability to project authority, confidence, and calm under pressure. John knew this was critical in his current role. He had started to withdraw, to fade into the background, overshadowed by the new CIO. But he knew he had to step up to be seen and to be heard again. He focused on refining how he presented himself, speaking with more conviction, and engaging with others in a way that communicated his value without saying a word. He also tapped into his creativity. John began thinking beyond his immediate frustrations, beyond the confines of his current role, and he started to considering new ways to contribute, new opportunities within and outside the organization. He started to see problems as challenges to be creatively solved rather than as obstacles to his progress. This shift allowed him to reignite his passion for work. Most importantly, John honed his ability to influence. He realized that his success didn't depend on his title or position. It depended on his ability to build trust, shape perceptions, and drive change. He focused on creating deeper, more authentic connections with his peers and subordinates, fostering collaboration and leading by example. As John developed these new skills, something amazing began to happen. He started to regain his self-confidence. His colleagues noticed the change, and he was more engaged, more decisive, more positive. He approached his work with renewed vigor and focus, and it wasn't long before his transformation caught the attention of senior leaders. Soon he was presented with an opportunity to apply for a CIO position at a Fortune 500 company. The interview process was long and challenging, a true test of his newly developed skills, but this time John was ready. He demonstrated executive presence like never before, navigating every question with poise and clarity and confidence, and he showcased his critical thinking abilities and presented himself as a leader who could drive strategic initiatives and foster a culture of innovation. And at work, John secured his first ever C-suite position as a CIO. In a mere 3 months, he had gone from being rejected to being selected by a much larger, more well-known company. His improved executive presence, his ability to listen and to respond thoughtfully, his newfound resilience, all these elements made him the clear choice. Financially, the change was extraordinary, more than doubling his compensation, but John didn't stop there. He knew that leadership wasn't just about him. It was about building a strong team. He decided to provide support for his direct reports, seeking opportunities for them to develop their own leadership abilities, and he wanted them to experience the growth he had had, to feel the transformation that comes from embracing these critical skills. So John's story, it's a testament to the power of focusing on self-awareness, emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence. He went from a place of uncertainty and doubt to achieving a career milestone he had always aspired to. John's journey shows that when you commit to developing the right leadership skills, there's no setback too great, no challenge too daunting. His transformation from a frustrated technology director to a confident and an impactful CIO provides that real change, or proves that real change comes from within, and it's always within your reach. Finally, last but not least, there's the story of Alina. And Alina was done. She was done. She felt stuck, fed up, ready to quit. She was a senior executive at a leading tech company, was known for strategic brilliance and fierce dedication, but despite all of her achievements, she was trapped in a cycle of frustration and doubt. She felt invisible to her leadership, unsure of her future, and wondered if she'd ever crack the C-suite dream that she cherished for so long. Every day, Alina wrestled with the same nagging thought. Maybe I should just leave and start somewhere else fresh, somewhere that would finally see my worth. Her spirit felt crushed by the sense of being overlooked and underappreciated. Is this it? She kept asking herself. Do I have to walk away to find the recognition I deserve? She thought about giving up the career that she'd built over decades to explore a new path, but something inside her held her back. Deep down, she knew she had more to give and so much more that she wanted to achieve. But how? How could she bridge the gap between where she was and where she wanted to be? So she went from frustration to freedom in 6 months. At first, it seemed obvious. The problem was external. Leadership didn't see her value. The opportunities she dreamed of felt elusive, locked behind a glass ceiling. But as she paused and really examined her situation, a different story began to unfold. We dove deep, peeling back the layers to uncover what truly mattered to Alina. She explored her core values, those guiding principles that shape every choice, every action. And that's when the light bulb went on. Alina realized that her values actually aligned with her current company. She had been so fixated on what was missing that she completely overlooked the incredible aspects she already loved: the flexibility, the supportive culture, the work-life balance that allowed her to thrive. The thought of leaving suddenly seemed like a huge mistake. And with this clarity, we built a bold two-part strategy. Scope out opportunities elsewhere that matched her newfound clarity and purpose. And plan B was to reframe her current role and elevate her position within the company. To make either plan a reality, she needed to dial up her assertiveness and amp up her emotional intelligence, boost her influence with senior management, all essential moves for any path to the C-suite. So over the next 6 months, Alina drove headfirst into this transformation. She began to understand that being assertive didn't mean being pushy or confrontational. It was more about standing up for herself with conviction and clarity. And she initiated a direct, no-nonsense series of conversations with senior leadership that clearly laid out her career goals and demonstrated how her ambitions aligned with the company's strategic direction. At the same time, Alina worked on sharpening her emotional intelligence. She discovered that much of her frustration was coming from the inside, from her own doubts and insecurities, so she turned the mirror inward, learning to manage her emotions with more grace and composure. She built empathy by seeing things from others' perspectives and started listening more deeply, reading between the lines and responding thoughtfully under pressure. This powerful boost in emotional intelligence transformed how she navigated difficult conversations, turning them into opportunities for connection and growth. Then she started to chart her own path to the C-suite. As Alina's emotional intelligence and assertiveness blossomed, she saw rapid, tangible changes. She became a powerhouse of influence across the departments, breaking down silos and creating cross-functional collaboration where there had been once only division. She played a key role in winning new clients and renewing major accounts, proving her ability to drive results and lead the team through complex challenges. But Alina didn't stop there. She took the reins and crafted a brand new role for herself, one that had perfectly aligned with both her values and her vision for the future. She pitched this role to her leadership, framing it as a pivotal move that would fuel the company's growth and bolster its strategic objectives. And her proposal was not just accepted, it was celebrated. This move put the C-suite within her reach. No, she didn't get everything she wanted right away, but the personal growth she experienced was profound. She developed critical skills that prepared her for future opportunities and challenges, recognizing that the journey itself was molding her into a more effective, empathic, and powerful leader. Traits that are not negotiable for any executive role. By the end of these 6 months, Alina was on a whole new trajectory. She was no longer stuck, she was rising. The personal and professional growth she achieved, powered by her newly refined skills and emotional intelligence and assertiveness, built an unshakable foundation for her future success. She shifted from being undervalued and stagnant to becoming a dynamic, empowered leader with a crystal clear vision and a renewed sense of purpose. She didn't just find a new role, she created one that aligned with her professional journey and her personal values, unlocking a sense of fulfillment that she hadn't felt in years. So what Alina's story shows us? Alina's story is proof that real leadership and transformation begins from the inside out. It takes clarity and courage and willingness to face uncomfortable truths. It's about understanding what really matters and having the guts to go after it, even when the path seems foggy. And when you do that, like Alina did, the results can be nothing short of extraordinary. From feeling lost and overlooked, she emerged as a pivotal player. She's primed for greater responsibilities and fully prepared to step into the C-suite when the moment arrives. Her journey reminds us that when you align your career with your core values and master essential skills like emotional intelligence, assertiveness, and influence, you can open doors that you never knew were there. So if you're wondering what separates leaders like Patricia, William, David, John, and Alina from the rest, it isn't luck or it isn't technical prowess. It's their ability to develop and apply essential leadership skills. These skills, emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence, aren't just buzzwords. They're the foundation upon which true lasting success is built. But let's be clear, mastering these skills is not about reading a book or attending a seminar. It's about real, consistent practice. It's about getting uncomfortable with embracing the fact that growth is a journey, not a destination. No one said it would be easy, but it is worth it. Just like learning any new skill, becoming a true leader means starting from scratch, making mistakes, and learning from them. But if you're willing to put in that work, to challenge your mindset, to confront your own limitations, then there's no limit to what you can achieve. So let's dive into these vital skills and see how they can transform you into the leader that you're meant to be.
All right, now let's go to chapter 5. Leadership skills are not optional, they're essential. To lead effectively, you must focus on the skills that truly make a difference: emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence. These 5 core competencies are the building blocks of exceptional leadership. They enable you to inspire trust, motivate teams, and drive change regardless of your technical expertise. As we explore each skill in detail, you'll see why they're crucial for navigating today's complex business landscape and how they empower you to achieve remarkable outcomes. By mastering these foundational leadership qualities, you'll be well equipped to create lasting impact and drive your organization forward with confidence. Now, Focus on these 5 leadership skills, and it will be impossible not to reach your full potential. The number one reason technology executives fail to lead effectively, they don't develop the human-centric skills that drive enduring success. So let's dig a little deeper into each of these skills. 5.1, emotional intelligence, the foundation of leadership. It's the foundation. Understanding and managing your emotions and those of others is crucial for leading cross-functional teams and driving transformation. Emotional intelligence helps you handle conflict, navigate resistance, and build trust. Without it, you're just a manager, not a leader. Emotional intelligence involves self-awareness, empathy, social skills, and relationship management. It allows leaders to understand and manage their own emotions and those of others. For technology leaders, EI is crucial for managing cross-functional teams, leading digital transformation, and aligning IT with business strategy. It helps you understand team dynamics, handle conflict, and maintain morale. Emotionally intelligent leaders navigate resistance, build trust, and foster a collaborative environment, effectively guiding change. Here's an example. George, a renowned technology consultant and thought leader in the financial services sector, was celebrated for his sharp intellect and quick thinking abilities. Yet his brilliance often came at a cost. Colleagues, clients, and even family members found him intimidating, often avoiding discussions with him for fear of being outwitted or dismissed. His habit of turning every conversation into a contest left him increasingly isolated, both at work and at home. Realizing that his approach was alienating those around him, George decided to develop his emotional intelligence. He began practicing active listening, focusing on truly understanding others rather than preparing his next argument. Gradually, he became more attuned to his own emotions and their impact on others, shifting from a stance of intellectual dominance to one of empathic connection. The change was remarkable. His family started opening up again, and his colleagues felt safe sharing their ideas. By embracing empathy, George transformed from a formidable mind into a trusted leader. Now, he still had his formidable mind, but he enhanced his relationships and finding new fulfillment in both his professional and personal life. Now let's look at the second quality, assertiveness, standing firm without being rigid. It's not about being aggressive, it's about standing firm on critical decisions and advocating for your ideas while respecting others. You need assertiveness to challenge outdated practices, push for innovation, and hold your ground in difficult situations. Assertiveness is the ability to confidently advocate for your ideas and needs while respecting the perspective of others. It involves standing firm on important decisions. Assertiveness is critical when pushing for necessary changes and defending innovative ideas against resistance from stakeholders who prefer the status quo. When leading budget exercises and allocating resources, assertive leaders challenge outdated practices and promote IT as a value driver. It's also vital when balancing technical depth with innovation initiatives, where tough decisions must be made to prioritize refactoring over new features. Let's take an example. Going back to Alina, she redefined her role, proposing new responsibilities that aligned with her ambitions and the company's strategic goals. Her assertive stance not only secured her greater influence within the organization, but also paved the way for her to step closer to the C-suite. By learning to hold her ground while respecting others' perspectives, Elena demonstrated that assertiveness, when coupled with empathy, could transform her leadership impact and drive meaningful progress in her career. Now let's talk about the third quality, executive presence, the art of inspiring confidence. This is what inspires confidence. It's the ability to project credibility and decisiveness, especially in uncertain times. Without executive presence, you're just another voice in the room. With it, you command respect, influence decisions, and motivate your team. Executive presence is about projecting confidence, decisiveness, and credibility, inspiring others and motivating team. Leaders with strong executive presence influence and align stakeholders at all levels, particularly when driving strategic initiatives like aligning IT and business strategy or digital transformation. This presence is vital for maintaining authority while fostering collaboration, showing decisiveness in times of uncertainty, and keeping teams motivated. Leaders need executive presence to guide their organizations effectively through challenging transitions. Let's take another example. Oscar, a sales leader at a leading engineering firm, found himself constantly at odds with the head of engineering, who is known for using manipulation tactics to push his agenda. Meetings were tense, with Oscar often feeling steamrolled by the technical jargon and aggressive positioning from his counterpart. His confidence waned, and he worried he was just another voice in the room, struggling to influence key decisions. Oscar knew he needed to change something fundamental to command the respect of his peers and protect his team's interests. Determined to make a difference, Oscar focused on developing his executive presence. He began by refining how he presented himself in meetings, projecting confidence through clear, decisive language, maintaining steady eye contact, and asserting his points with credibility and poise. Instead of reacting to provocation, he calmly addressed challenges and consistently brought his discussion back to the firm's broader strategic goals. His newfound composure and clarity started to turn the tide. The engineering leader could no longer manipulate the conversation as easily. Oscar's executive presence inspired confidence across the organization, aligning stakeholders and positioning him as a key leader capable of guiding the company through its most complex transitions. Now let's take a look at creativity, finding new paths through a maze. Creativity involves thinking outside the box to develop unique solutions to problems and generate innovative ideas. Thinking outside the box is what separates leaders from managers. Creativity is about finding unique solutions to complex problems, not just applying what's been done before. It's what drives innovation and keeps your organization competitive. Creativity is essential for integrating technology with business strategy, managing technical debt, and driving digital transformation. When IT leaders need to balance technical debt with innovation initiatives, creativity helps leaders devise innovative strategies to manage debt without stalling growth. It also plays a significant role when managing cross-functional teams and silos, where creative approaches can help break down barriers and inspire new ways of working together. Let's go to an example. Take David, who we met earlier. After being abruptly laid off from his long-standing executive position, David faced a daunting challenge: how to rebuild his career and find new opportunities in a competitive market. Rather than falling into despair, David decided to embrace creativity as his guiding principle. He realized that the usual approach of applying for the same roles he'd always held wouldn't set him apart. Instead, he began thinking outside the box, considering not only different industries, but also new roles that could leverage his vast experience and in unexpected ways. David didn't stop at traditional job applications. He reached out to his network in innovative ways, offering to solve specific problems for organizations on a freelance basis. He crafted a unique narrative that showcased how his fresh perspective could drive value in areas beyond his previous experience. His creative approach paid off within months. David received multiple job offers, each with its unique potential, by breaking away from the conventional path and applying his creativity to redefine his career strategy. David turned a daunting layoff into a remarkable opportunity for growth. Then finally, influence, shaping outcomes beyond authority. It's about shaping outcomes without relying on your position or authority. Influence involves building trust, persuading stakeholders, and driving change. It's essential for leading any significant initiative, whether it's aligning IT with business strategies or optimizing resources. Influence is about the ability to shape outcomes, persuade stakeholders, and drive change without relying on formal authority. It involves building relationships, trust, and credibility. Influence is key when leading digital transformation or aligning IT with business strategies, where gaining buy-in from diverse stakeholders is critical. It helps in managing silos and cross-functional teams by fostering a shared vision. When driving digital transformation initiatives and aligning IT and business strategy in real time, leaders need to influence others to adopt new processes, tools, and mindsets. This skill is also crucial when leaders need to optimize IT budgets and allocate resources, where influencing financial teams to see an IT as an investment rather than a cost center can significantly impact the organization's strategic direction. So here's an example. When John, who we met above, stepped into his new role as CIO, he quickly realized that to drive meaningful change, he would need to use influence rather than rely solely on his formal authority. With a focus on building trust and creativity, he began cultivating relationships with key business leaders across the organization. John scheduled regular one-on-ones with department heads, not just to present his IT vision, but to listen and understand their pain points, priorities, and aspirations. By demonstrating empathy and genuine interest in their success, he built strong alliances and gradually shifted perceptions about IT's role from being a mere cost center to a strategic partner. John also knew that aligning IT with the company's broader business strategy required more than just technical solutions. It required winning hearts and minds. He leveraged his growing influence to persuade financial leaders to see technology investments not as expenses, but as catalysts for growth. He presented compelling business cases and highlighted how IT initiatives could drive efficiency, enhance customer experience, and open up new revenue streams. Through his strategic use of influence, John created a coalition of support that enabled him to implement transformative change, ultimately positioning IT as a driver of innovation and long-term value for the organization. So summing it up, we've just delved into the core skills that separate exceptional leaders from mere managers. We explored why emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence are not just important, but essential for tech executives. And these skills empower you to connect with your team, drive innovation and influence and influence outcomes without relying solely on formal authority. Focus on these foundational leadership qualities, and you'll position yourself to not only lead effectively, but to inspire and impact your organization in profound ways. Now, if you've made it this far in the document, I applaud you, and you're clearly committed to growing and developing your leadership skills. So I salute you. Stay with me because there is much more to come. Let's take a look at how these 5 essential skills apply to common IT challenges. So let's go to chapter 6, the real world of leadership, where skills meet challenges. So you've realized leadership is not about knowing each tool or process inside and out. You've started to understand that leading effectively means mastering 5 core skills: emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence. Now let's talk about how these skills come into play in the real world of challenges technology executives face every day. Here's the bottom line. In today's fast-paced environment, tech leaders don't just need technical expertise, they need to navigate complex cross-functional landscapes, drive digital transformation, and optimize resources, all while maintaining alignment between IT and business strategies. But how do you do that without being overwhelmed? Well, here's what you do not need: a deep dive into every new tool or system, a crystal ball for every future technology trend, or endless hours studying complex frameworks. Instead, you need to master the art of leadership, starting with yourself. And what you need to do is simple, but it's not easy. You have to apply these 5 core leadership principles to the key challenges that you face every day. And here's how you do it. So, aligning IT and business strategy in real time. For too long, IT has been relegated to a support role, reactive, sidelined, and isolated from the broader business strategy. This outdated mindset prevents growth and wastes valuable resources. To move forward, you must align IT and business strategies to drive towards a shared vision and achieve real impact. Emotional intelligence is crucial here. Understand the different perspectives within your organization and navigate any resistance that may arise when integrating IT with business goals. Use influence to foster a culture of collaboration and ensure IT is seen as an essential partner from day one. Assertiveness is key to challenging the old ways and advocating for IT's role as a strategic driver. Don't just wait for a seat at the table, demand it and say no to tasks that don't align with strategic goals. Your executive presence will help project confidence and decisiveness, reinforcing the importance of IT as a strategic asset. Finally, harness creativities to develop innovative approaches that fully integrate IT with the business strategy. When these skills are applied effectively, IT moves from the sidelines to the forefront, driving real business value, reducing project delivery times, and increasing stakeholder satisfaction. So 6.2, managing cross-functional silos and teams. Departments working in silos, limited communications, and misaligned priorities are common barriers to organizational success. Top-down directives often fail to fix these issues. Instead, a cultural and mindset shift is needed. Emotional intelligence is crucial for understanding the root cause of resistance to change. Use it to build trust and foster genuine engagement across teams, applying creativity to find innovative ways to bring cross-functional teams together, leveraging tools like OKRs and Scrum to manage agility and alignment. Influence is necessary to break down barriers and challenge outdated thinking that keep teams isolated. Assertiveness helps you address misalignments directly and advocating for collaboration as a core organizational value. By demonstrating executive presence, you can inspire confidence and commitment from all team members, creating a more cohesive and agile organization that thrives in a rapidly changing environment. Now, let's take a look at section 3. How do you apply these leadership skills for optimizing IT budgets and resource allocation? Traditional budgeting often positions IT as a cost center rather than as a growth engine, resulting in underfunded projects and missed opportunities. To change this perspective, leaders must position IT as an investment center. Use assertiveness to push back against outdated financial practices and advocate for long-term growth over short-term savings. Apply influence to make a compelling case for agile budgeting and dynamic resource allocation, highlighting how each dollar spent in IT drives innovation and strategic value. Executive presence is vital in these discussions. Speak with authority and ensure your vision is clearly understood. And emotional intelligence helps navigate the emotional dynamics in budgeting negotiations. While creativity offers new approaches to managing resources more effectively. When these skills are applied, IT is no longer a cost, it becomes a catalyst for growth. How about these leadership skills in driving digital transformation initiatives? It's not just about implementing new technologies, it's about reshaping how your organization operates. So overcoming resistance to change requires a fresh approach. Leveraging EI is critical to understand and manage the emotional dynamics that accompany major technological shifts. Use influence to create a shared vision for digital transformation, showing every team member how they play a crucial role in the bigger picture. Foster creativity to encourage an inclusive, iterative approach that promotes innovation and adaptability, and apply assertiveness to stand firm on the need for transformation and ensure alignment across the organization. Your executive presence will help guide this complex journey, inspiring confidence and commitment at every level. The result, a proactive, innovation-driven organization that seizes new opportunities and maintains a competitive edge. What about applying these leadership skills to balancing technical debt with innovation initiatives? Innovation is essential, but technical debt, the cost of quick fixes and shortcuts, can hold back progress. However, managing this debt doesn't have to be a burden, it can be a strategic advantage. Assertiveness is required to make the strong case for regular refactoring and maintaining high code quality. Use executive presence to communicate the long-term benefits to managing technical debt effectively to gain buy-in from stakeholders. Encourage creativity to find innovative ways to balance current system maintenance with new initiatives, ensuring that neither stifles the other. Leverage influence to align the organization around this balanced approach, and use EI to navigate any resistance to concerns that arise. By incorporating technical debt management into your innovation strategy, you turn a liability into an opportunity for continuous improvement. So, how do you take this from theory to practice? Well, that's your next step. As we close this section, it's clear that mastering leadership is not just about theory, it's about applying key skills in real-world scenarios. The challenges you've explored, aligning IT with business strategy, managing cross-functional teams, optimizing budgets, driving digital transformation, and balancing innovation with technical debt, are all opportunities to practice and refine your leadership skills. By committing to these core 5 leadership skills: emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence, you're setting the stage for genuine, impactful leadership. Now that you understand the core skills for impactful leadership, it's time to move from theory to practice. The 4 stages of learning provide a structured framework to help you develop these essential capabilities, from identifying skill gaps to achieving mastery. By following this model, you'll systemically build and integrate these leadership qualities into your daily actions, turning them into powerful tools for success. So let's go to chapter 7, the 4 stages of learning, the journey to leadership mastery. Before we get to the blueprint for transforming your leadership approach, let's talk about the process of learning itself. Because believe it or not, it's not just about knowing what to do, it's about knowing how to get there. Think about it. You don't just wake up one day with all the skills you need. It's a journey. It's a progression through what we call the 4 stages of learning. This model helps tech executives develop the essential leadership skills needed to tackle real-world challenges. The 5 that we've talked about already. The skills that separate those who lead from those who manage. Now, here's the deal. You start at unconscious competence, what you don't know, and you move towards unconscious competence, mastering skills to the point where they become second nature. And every stage in between is crucial. Let's cover the 4 stages of learning. Stage 1, unconscious incompetence. Basically, you don't know what you don't know. This is the starting point. At this stage, you're unaware of the gaps in your abilities. Maybe you think you're leading effectively, but you're missing critical skills. And you don't realize that you lack emotional intelligence or when managing cross-functional teams. Or perhaps you don't understand how your insufficient executive presence affects your impact in board meetings. Here's the problems. You don't know what skills you need to cultivate, like influence or to drive digital transformation or creativity to balance technical debt with innovation. The key here is simple: identifying the gaps and acknowledging the unknowns that must be discovered. Now, the second stage, stage 2, conscious incompetence, or knowing what you don't know. Now the fog starts to lift. You begin to recognize your areas for growth. You realize that you need to build emotional intelligence to navigate resistance and build trust in cross-functional teams. You understand the importance of assertiveness to push back against outdated practices or promote IT as a value driver. You know you lack influence, essential for gaining buy-in from diverse stakeholders, or creativity, which is vital in developing innovative strategies in a fast-paced digital landscape. At this stage, awareness is your greatest ally. You actively seek out ways to fill these gaps through, whether it's through feedback or training programs or studying real-world examples. This is where growth begins, but it's also where the real work starts. In stage 3, conscious competence, you're knowing, but you still have to think about it. This is where things get really interesting. You're now aware of what you need to do, but it still takes effort. You're practicing, you're refining, and learning to apply these skills. For example, you might rehearse your assertiveness before budget meetings, preparing your arguments to advocate for treating IT as an investment center. You might focus on building your executive presence by practicing how to project confidence and credibility in high-stakes scenarios. Influence becomes about relationship building and understanding stakeholder needs and effectively communicating the value of IT initiatives. What about creativity? It's about deliberate brainstorming sessions or adopting frameworks to solve challenges like technical debt. At this stage, every action is intentional and you're applying your skills, but they're not quite second nature yet. Then in stage 4, unconscious competence, or the zone of mastery. Here's where it all comes together. You reach a point where your leadership skills are so ingrained that you don't even have to think about them. They're just part of who you are. You instinctively read the room, navigate conflicts, and build rapport with ease. Your emotional intelligence becomes your greatest tool, used effortlessly in every interaction. Assertiveness flows naturally. You're no longer forcing it. Your executive presence, it's not something you think about anymore. It's something you project with every word and every action. And influence, it's seamless. You bring stakeholders on board with new ideas without overt persuasion. Creativity, It's just how you approach problems, always finding forward-looking solutions that drive growth. You lead with mastery in your everyday decisions, naturally and effortlessly. Now, a note about the subconscious mind. As we navigate through the stages of learning, it's crucial to recognize that much of our development as leaders happens beyond our conscious awareness. While we consciously strive to build new skills and competencies, the real engine driving these changes is the subconscious mind, the hidden powerhouse that enables our habits and behaviors and ultimately our leadership style. To fully leverage the journey from conscious to conscious incompetence to unconscious competence, we must understand and harness the power of the subconscious mind. So let's go into this in more detail. How do you leverage the subconscious mind for leadership excellence? Well, let's first talk about what the subconscious mind is. It's a powerful part of our cognitive process, accounting for approximately 95% of our mental activity, as illustrated by the iceberg graphic. While the conscious mind represents only 5%, and it's focused on logic and reasoning and decision making, the subconscious is where most of our thoughts and feelings and automatic behaviors reside. This is where our habits are formed, where deep-seated beliefs are stored, where emotions and impulses originate. Understanding and leveraging this aspect of our mind can provide significant benefits in leadership and personal development. So, why the subconscious mind matters in leadership? In leadership, many actions and reactions and decisions happen automatically. Our subconscious mind continually processes vast amounts of information, up to 11 million pieces per second, compared with 140,000 pieces processed per second by the conscious mind. This processing occurs beneath our conscious awareness, influencing our perceptions and behaviors and decisions without us even realizing it. The subconscious mind is the proverbial elephant in the room. For leaders, this is crucial. The subconscious mind affects how we respond to challenges, communicate with others, and handle stress, and make decisions. And by learning to harness the power of the subconscious mind, you can enhance your emotional intelligence, build executive presence, and improve decision-making and creativity. So let's look at some practical applications for leveraging the subconscious mind. Here are some practical strategies to harness this power to enhance your leadership skills. Visualization techniques. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself successfully handling key leadership challenges. Imagine yourself speaking confidently in high-stakes meetings, resolving conflicts with ease, or leading your team to success. This primes your subconscious mind to recognize these situations as familiar and manageable, reducing anxiety and enhancing performance. The impact is that visualization activates neural pathways in the brain, making the subconscious more familiar with desired outcomes. Over time, this practice builds confidence and reduces stress in similar real-world scenarios. So here's an example. I remember a client working with a client who struggled with imposter syndrome, despite being an outstanding candidate for the CIO position. We focused on daily confidence-building exercise which shifted her mindset over a few months, leading to her promotion to CIO. Here's another technique: storytelling and mental reframing. So you can use storytelling to reframe past experiences in a more positive light. So narrate a story where a perceived failure becomes a lesson for opportunity or an opportunity for growth. The impact of this technique is it helps your subconscious mind create new neural connections that see challenges as opportunities, enhancing your resilience and adaptability. So here's an example. Too often we're conditioned by our upbringing and formal education to dwell on our mistakes, being overly self-critical and apologetic. This mindset can stifle growth and trap us in a cycle of self-doubt, a fixed mindset that limits our future potential. One executive I worked with experienced what seemed like a crushing defeat and successfully merging a major acquisition. Instead of succumbing to regret, he chose to reframe this setback as a powerful lesson, a stepping stone for future success. He used the insights gained from the failure to pivot his strategy, turning the business around and driving growth into new untapped areas. The transformation was so remarkable that the CEO spotlighted his story across the entire organization as a testament to resilience and the power of seeing every challenge as an opportunity for growth. The story became an inspiration for the entire organization to reframe their setbacks and to find strength to move forward boldly. Okay. Let's go to 8.3, habit formation and repetition. So another application you can use is identifying key leadership behaviors that you want to develop, such as active listening and empathy and assertiveness, and practice these behaviors consistently until they become automatic. For example, set a goal to actively listen for a full minute before speaking in meetings. The impact of this repetition, again, it builds new neural pathways in the brain, gradually transferring these behaviors from the conscious mind, right? So, I'm consciously thinking about, well, I'm going to actively listen and I'm not going to talk for the first full minute of this meeting. And then eventually you start to do this subconsciously, automatically, where it becomes a habit that requires minimal effort. So here's an example. One senior executive embraced this power of repetition by dedicating 12 minutes a day to redirect his mind from catastrophic thinking to focusing on solutions. He visualized the excitement of shaping a plan and watching it come to life with his team. This daily practice transformed his mindset, turning anxiety into inspiration, improving his work results dramatically, and most importantly, allowing him to experience a newfound sense of joy and calm in his work, leading to better sleep and overall well-being. Here's another example. Application: use sleep as a tool for subconscious problem solving. Before going to sleep, focus on a leadership challenge or decision you're facing and write down any thoughts or ideas about it. Then allow your mind to rest. During sleep, your subconscious mind will very often continue to process that information and may generate solutions or insights. This technique often leads to waking up with aha moments. I experienced a profound solution myself using this method when I was in a consulting business. I was working with a client facing a highly sensitive issue. An employee had made a costly mistake that with serious financial and reputational consequences. The stakes were high. Failure could have led to severe repercussions for the client and the employee and their leadership team. While it wasn't technically my responsibility, I felt the weight of the outcome deeply. That night, I went to bed with the problem on my mind, and as I slept, my subconscious mind worked tirelessly. I woke up with a clear, actionable solution that we implemented the next morning. The result, a successful resolution that brought immense relief to the client and a renewed sense of our partnership with this particular client. Here's another example, environmental clues. Surround yourself with visual or auditory clues that reinforce positive behaviors or leadership qualities. This could include inspirational quotes, symbols, screensavers, computer images, background music that aligns with your desired mindset. The environmental cues serve as a constant reminder to your subconscious, reinforcing positive habits and maintaining focus on your leadership goals. So here's an example. One of my clients struggled to truly grasp and operationalize a particular leadership concept. She needed to embed it deeply in her mind, so she took a creative approach. In both her home office and her workspace, she surrounded herself with visual reminders, graphics, photos, quotes, and notes strategically placed in spots she would frequently see. The effect was profound. Within just a few weeks, the principles became ingrained in her subconscious, naturally surfacing even when she wasn't in her office. The constant reinforcement helped her internalize the concept fully, turning it into an actionable behavior. Today, these reminders are no longer needed, and this concept has become second nature to her, guiding her decisions effortlessly. Let's take a look at another example. Engaging in creative activities. So dedicate time to creative activities such as writing, drawing, or brainstorming without constraints, allowing your mind to wander and explore new possibilities without judgment or filtering. Creative abilities encourage your subconscious mind to form new connections and ideas, leading to innovative thinking and problem-solving approaches that can be applied to leadership scenarios. After a challenging meeting with a large government agency where things had not gone as planned, I found myself facing a dilemma. The situation had gone sideways. Some issues were indeed my fault, while others were simply a matter of the client's high expectations. I didn't achieve the outcome I needed, and the fallout required me to spend an additional 3 days in the city, incurring additional travel expenses, rescheduling key meetings with other clients, and missing an event with my wife. Frustration welled up, but I knew I couldn't afford to act impulsively. I needed a creative breakthrough. Instead of spiraling into negative thinking, I consciously shifted gears and found a quiet space, put on some music, and allowed myself to unwind and enter a creative state of mind. Without the usual constraints, I let my thoughts roam free, trusting my subconscious to guide me towards a solution. Within 4 hours, I had discovered an innovative way to resolve the client's concerns, saving me from the extended stay. Not only did I fix the problem, but I also managed to schedule additional meetings with local clients to strengthen our relationships, and even found time to remotely help my wife polish her resume for an upcoming interview. What could have been a disastrous few days turned into a success story, all because I chose to harness the power of creativity rather than dwell on my setbacks. So let's take a look at a few more. One more, I think. Two more. Subconscious rehearsal. Before a significant meeting or presentation, mentally rehearse the event in great detail, including the setting, your words, body language, and responses to potential questions or challenges. The impact of this technique is that it primes your subconscious to feel more prepared and confident, reducing anxiety and improving results. One client of mine was grappling with mounting tension with a top executive on his team, a critical situation that demanded resolution. Previous attempts to address the issue had failed, and his message wasn't landing, and the friction was escalating. If left unresolved, it threatened to erode trust and amplify resentment and negatively impact the entire team's dynamics. Together, we rehearsed the upcoming conversation several times, employing assertive communication and conflict management strategies to guide the dialogue towards a win-win outcome. And with each rehearsal, his confidence grew, transforming his anxiety into readiness. The next day, he approached the discussion with a newfound poise and successfully navigated the conversation, setting the relationship on a positive trajectory. Now, instead of conflict, there's collaboration, and the executive and his team's progress is back on track. Then let's talk about positive affirmations and self-talk. Create a specific positive statements about your leadership abilities and repeat them regularly. For example, I'm an effective communicator, or I remain calm and focused under pressure, and repeat these daily, particularly before challenging tasks. Affirmations help to reprogram your subconscious mind, replacing negative self-talk or doubts with constructive, empowering beliefs. And this can significantly enhance your executive presence and emotional stability. So here's an example. After a series of setbacks, a vice president I coach found himself trapped in a vicious cycle of self-criticism, blaming himself for every mistake, whether his own or his team's. And this pattern of negative self-talk was draining his confidence and gradually becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy that eroded his leadership effectiveness. So recognizing the impact, he committed to a daily practice, and within a few weeks, the shift was palpable. His confidence grew, his energy transformed, and the team's morale and performance began to soar. What had seemed like an impossible turnaround started with a simple yet profound change in perception. So here are the key takeaways for leveraging the subconscious mind. By integrating strategies, such as the ones that we just talked about, you can harness the power of your subconscious mind to become a more effective leader. This isn't about relying on mystical or woo-woo techniques. It's about using practical, scientifically backed methods to tap into the immense processing power of your subconscious. Do you want 11 million instructions per second, or do you want 140,000 instructions per second? By leveraging the power of this subconscious mind, a veritable supercomputer, you build stronger emotional intelligence, foster better decision-making, enhance your executive presence, and develop habits that support sustained leadership success. Remember, your subconscious mind is always active, influencing every aspect of your leadership. Use it wisely, and you unlock a reservoir of potential that can transform into not only how you lead, but how you grow and develop as an individual. So the next step, the blueprint for applying these skills. By understanding and harnessing the power of your subconscious mind, you lay the groundwork for a profound personal and professional growth. But knowledge alone is not enough. It's time to put these insights into practice. Now that you know the 4 stages of learning and understand the power of your subconscious mind, it's time to apply this learning model to your own leadership development. Recognize where you are and embrace the learning process, and commit to moving through each stage until you reach mastery. Remember, it's not about knowing it all from the start. It's about understanding what you don't know and working intentionally to develop these skills and allowing them to become a natural part of who you are. So let's dive into the blueprint that will take you through this journey from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence and transform how you lead in every aspect of your role. Because when you get this right, every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth, and every decision becomes a step forward, and every day becomes a new chance to lead with confidence and impact. Ready to begin? So let's move forward. Here's how to make it happen. So, chapter 9, your blueprint for mastering leadership skills. So, you've learned about the 4 stages of learning, from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence, and how these stages shape your growth as a leader. Now it's time to take this understanding and apply it to a practical framework that will accelerate your journey through these stages. This is where the technology leadership blueprint comes in, a powerful structure, a structured approach designed to help you develop the leadership skills that truly matter. It's your guide to becoming not just a competent manager, but a transformative leader who navigates challenges with ease and inspires teams and drives meaningful, long-lasting change. Why does this matter? Because knowing theory is one thing, but applying it is where the magic happens. This blueprint takes you beyond the basics, empowering you to internalize and master the essential leadership qualities: emotional intelligence, assertiveness, executive presence, creativity, and influence. And when you work through this blueprint, you're not just learning, you're transforming. You're building the kind of leadership that turns every challenge into an opportunity and every setback into a lesson and every interaction into a step towards mastery. So let's start with, and this is basically all covered in this blueprint, in this diagram. There's a 5-step process from assessing your state, which is figuring out where you are, developing a strategy, setting goals and a personal roadmap from how you're going to get to where you are now to where you want to go. And the third part of the process is fortifying your mindset. So building the mental strength to go through this journey. The 4th step is reducing resistance. So identifying or shifting or eliminating that which is slowing you down or holding you back. And then finally, you get to the 5th stage, which is you're mastering ease and flow, and you're achieving results without tension, without stress, and without pain. So let's go through each one of these steps. So step 1, assess the state. Start where you are. Your journey begins here. To grow, you must first understand where you stand, and this pillar emphasizes self-awareness and a deep understanding of your current capabilities, areas for growth, and the external environment in which you operate. So here's how to do it. Figure out where you are, conduct a thorough assessment of your current mental, emotional, and professional state, and identify your strengths and weaknesses and gaps, because knowing these is the first step to fulfilling them. The approaches and methods: use reflective practices, feedback, and assessment tools to gain a crystal clear picture of your current state. This forms a solid foundation for every decision and action that follows. There's a number of resources that I recommend in this stage. There's plenty of other ones as well that you can leverage. But for each one of these stages, I do recommend a number of resources that are my favorites. So in the second stage, or the second pillar, it's the develop a strategy. It's essentially creating your own personal roadmap. And so once you've assessed your starting point, it's now time to chart your course. And this pillar is all about defining your vision and developing a strategic plan to achieve it. Think of it as your own personal development plan from moving from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. You know what you need to do, and now you're planning on how to get there. So your key actions are to set goals and define your personal roadmap. So define clear, measurable objectives that align with your personal growth aspirations and your organization's mission. Outline a strategic roadmap to achieve these goals. Operationalize the insights. Turn strategic insights into daily practices that build over time into ingrained habits, and then burn in the new habits. Consistently reinforce the new behaviors through repetition until they become second nature, shifting you further along the path to unconscious competence. There's a number of excellent resources here that I recommend. The third stage, fortifying your mindset and building mental resistance. Your mindset is the bedrock of all leadership skills, and this pillar focuses on developing the mental strength that you'll need to handle challenges with confidence and adaptability, progressing you further from conscious incompetence towards conscious competence. So you first work on yourself. Engage in continuous activities that foster mental growth, like reading, writing, reflection, and professional training. And then building the mental strength, cultivating a mindset that is resilient in the face of stress, setbacks, and uncertainty. This involves developing emotional intelligence and mental agility. There's a few resources here that I recommend. Then the fourth pillar, reducing resilience. Clear the path to progress. It's not just about moving forward, it's about removing what holds you back. And this pillar is focused on identifying and overcoming internal and external resistance to accelerate your growth towards unconscious competence. So key actions are identifying, shifting, or eliminating what's slowing you down. Pinpoint the limiting beliefs, the unproductive habits, or external obstacles that block your progress, and create strategies to overcome them, and continually assess state. So regularly check in with yourself and your organization, your trusted friends, trusted confidants, to ensure alignment with your goals and eliminate any new forms of resistance. And there's a number of different resources I recommend in this stage. And then finally, mastering ease and flow. So how to get achievement without stress. At this stage, you're moving beyond effort and into ease. The goal is to achieve true performance without the usual stress, tension, and burnout associated with achievement. I'll actually put that phrase in here. This is where you truly embody unconscious competence, where leadership feels natural and every action aligns with your goals. So key actions: achieve results without tension, stress, or pain, focus on optimizing workflows, prioritizing effectively, and employing time management techniques to, and I should say, techniques to achieve peak productivity without stress. Generate insights, foster an environment that encourages creativity, and innovative problem solving by minimizing distractions and enhancing concentration. Number of resources. I recommend. And then finally, why this blueprint works, the values and the value and the benefits. The Technology Leadership Blueprint isn't just another framework. It's your comprehensive guide to mastering leadership in a fast-paced, ever-evolving tech landscape. This blueprint is designed to accelerate your learning curve, drive lasting growth, empower yourself and your team, and transform every challenge into an opportunity. So, are you ready to apply this blueprint and transform your leadership approach? Let's move forward with purpose and clarity, because when you get this right, you're not just leading, you're leading with impact, confidence, and mastery. So now for the conclusion. You've now journeyed through the Technology Leadership Blueprint, explored the stories of transformation, and learned the critical skills that differentiate successful leaders from the rest. It's time to put this knowledge into action. So let's be clear. Leadership isn't about knowing every detail or having every answer. It's about leading with purpose and clarity and confidence. And it's about embracing the journey from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence, and using this blueprint to become the leader who doesn't just manage, but inspires, empowers, and drives meaningful change. Now is the moment to take deliberate steps towards mastering the 5 core skills. So start where you are. Take a moment and assess your current state. Be brutally honest with yourself. Where are your gaps? What are your strengths? Identify the areas that require growth. Use the tools and strategies outlined in the blueprint to gain a clear understanding of where you are. Create your personal leadership roadmap. Define your goals, craft a strategic roadmap to achieve them. Be intentional about the daily practices that will bring you closer to these goals. And remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a product of consistent effort, deliberate practice, and unwavering commitment to growth. Fortify your mindset. Work on developing a mindset that's resilient, adaptable, and ready to handle any challenge. Engage in activities that promote mental growth, reading, writing, reflecting, and training. Strengthening your mental fitness and building a mindset that welcomes every obstacle as an opportunity for growth. A clear path to progress. Identify and eliminate the resistance that slows you down, whether it's limiting beliefs or unproductive habits or external obstacles. Take action to overcome them. Use the strategies outlined in the blueprint to reduce resistance and accelerate your journey to leadership mastery. Master ease and flow. Aim for a state where your leadership feels natural, effortless, and aligned with your goals. Focus on optimizing your workflows, managing your time effectively, and maintaining high productivity without stress or burnout. Create an environment that encourages creativity, innovation, and continuous growth. Transform your challenges into opportunities. Reframe every challenge you face as an opportunity to grow and lead with impact. Embrace the mindset that every problem is just a puzzle waiting to be solved. Every setback is just a lesson, and every day brings new chances to excel. Remember, you're not just building skills, you're building a legacy of leadership that will stand the test of time. Commit to continuous learning. Leadership is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Keep learning, keep growing, and stay humble. Use the lessons from the 4 stages of learning to recognize where you are and what you need to do next. Commit to moving through each stage with intention until you reach mastery. Take action now. This is the moment to take action. Don't just read this document, live it. Put these strategies to work in your daily routine, in your interactions, and in your decision making. Make the commitment to yourself today that you will not settle for ordinary leadership, and that you'll strive for the extraordinary. Connect and collaborate. Join with me on LinkedIn and become part of our IT Leadership Excellence Network. Surround yourself with a community of like-minded professionals who are committed to growth, innovation, and leadership excellence. Share your journey, seek feedback, and collaborate with others to amplify your impact. So the final thought, the power's in your hands. The choice is yours. You have the blueprint, you have the strategies, the tools to transform your leadership approach to drive remarkable results. Now it's time to act. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Don't wait for permission. You don't need it. Your journey from ordinary to extraordinary starts now, so take the first step. You have the power to lead with purpose, to inspire your team, and to achieve the kind of success that turns heads and changes lives. Take the first step today, and every step after that will be a testament to your commitment to leadership excellence. Your next chapter begins now. Are you ready to turn the page? I've also given credits to where I think credit is due. So this short blueprint has been built upon the work of many great authors. The works from the authors below have had a profound impact upon my own professional and personal life, and I hope you find them valuable as well. So this is the list of all the credits, so you can read through that yourself. I hope that you've enjoyed this walkthrough of the IT Leadership Blueprint. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.